Bitch, listen up. Now, for today's topic, I'm gonna have to ask one of y'all to close the door because there may be some little cheerings walking by down the hallway. And the topic of conversation is adults only. Well. You know, we talk about haters all the time, but haters are really just jealous people. Jealous people cannot help when the jealousy has been suppressed for such a long time. They simply cannot help it when it accidentally combusts in a public forum in a manner in which they had not calculated. So let me just tell you, when you have people in your circle that have been around you for years, you may have been around people for decades, a long time. It could be somebody even in your family or your step family or your in-law family that simply cannot seem to get on the same footing as you. You're like, you know what? Every time I come around this person, they make me feel some type of way. They're always smiling. It's not like they did anything and they didn't say anything. It's just how I feel when I'm around them. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. You can't put your finger on it because it's some feeling about you that they've been suppressing for such a long time, they've managed to keep it hidden. So when they get closer and closer and closer to revealing their issue with you, which is their jealousy, which is haterade. You know, jealousy is just a new form. Jealousy is the old school word for haterade, all right? But I'm going to call it jealousy because it needs to be called what it is. When someone is jealous of you, they will stop at nothing to block your blessing. Do you know that? If they're jealous, they'll stop at nothing to block your blessing. Remember when I told you about the daily affirmations? They're really not working. I think I can. Doesn't really work unless you put it into action. Like, I'll do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Not I think I can, but I can. The jealous person in your circle is hoping that you won't. I hope she can't. I hope she can't. I hope she won't. No, she can't. I know she can't. I hope she doesn't. I hope she won't. I hope she fails. I hope they reject her. I hope she doesn't get that job. I hope she doesn't win this competition. I hope she doesn't win the Oscar. I hope she doesn't get that Grammy. I hope she doesn't do this. I hope she doesn't get that new house. I hope she doesn't upgrade that car. I hope she doesn't get that promotion. Every time you're posting things on social media, when you're having your proud moment, I'm proud that my son got 17th place. I'm proud. You may get 45 people say, oh, we're so proud of the 17th place. Oh, we're so proud. But if you say, I'm so proud that I got first place in the international writing competition, you may get 7 likes. If you say, I'm so proud that I baked my first set of cookies in my new bakery business that I want to start, you're going to get 500 likes. But 6 months later, when you get the keys to your new bakery business and you're having your ribbon cutting ceremony to open up your new business, you're going to post it. You're going to get 8 likes. So what does that tell you? When you're on the beginning of your struggle, there's an audience ready with an applause because you're still at the precipice of where you're going to get to. When you're at the beginning of the struggle, there's an audience. Half the audience is hoping that you don't achieve your dream, but they're going to clap for you so that they'll let you know that they're watching you. To wait for your misstep. They're clapping in the beginning, waiting to watch you struggle. They're giving you a timeline in their own heads to see if they'll even reach your goal that you told everybody that you had. They're hoping that one day you never get the keys to the bakery business shop. They're hoping that one day you decide to deviate and say, you know what, I was doing bakery business for a while, but after I made that first set of cookies, I really couldn't get the shop that I wanted. I really couldn't find a kitchen that would let me set up the way I needed to. So I kind of had a lot of blockings. And then I got laid off from my job. And when I got laid off, I no longer had the funding to support my dream. So I decided to put that on the back burner and pivot and do something else. Well, those same people that were clapping are now going to say, oh, girl, that's okay. Oh, it's okay, bro. You can do something else. But they're secretly inside happy Because they may have had another dream that they weren't able to achieve. And now if they see you at the beginning phase of your dream, they're scared that you're going to actually achieve your goal. And if you actually achieve your goal, you're going to leave them behind. And you achieving your goal will shine a light on them that they have not successfully achieved the goals that they had laid out for them. Well, here's what I want to say to you. At the beginning of your dream, you can tell everybody your dream so you can get the support that you need. Well, when you're on the journey, you can keep your journey a quiet secret. Keep the journey that you're on a secret. All right? Everyone does not need to be with you on every single step along the road to where you're trying to go. Ask them for their blessing from the beginning when you're first trying to reach your dream. Hey guys, I'm trying to start a bakery business. You know, I've been cooking on the side. I've been baking cookies. I've been selling them a lot. I've been doing it for 5 years. You've all watched my hustle. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you supporting me with your finances, spreading the word on social media. I appreciate you showing up to my bake sales. I appreciate all of that. Now, go into hiding because your appreciation for them is for how they appreciated supporting your dream. You cannot expect all of the dream killers that are out there to continue supporting you while you're on your dream. You don't know the timeline God has set up for you for when you will actually achieve your goal. Your goal may have been to set it out in 6 months. I'm going to have my bakery store with the storefront. I'm going to have my grand opening on the 7th month. By month 12, I will have already brought in a profit. Well, what if God has a different plan for your dream? What if God said, you're going to have a bakery business, but my intention was not for you to open up a storefront. My intention was just for you to sell your cookies to get you into a meeting where there was somebody else there that already has a storefront. So I'm going to put you in HEB to sell your cookies. Well, the people that were there at the beginning when you told them about your dream to have a storefront, they're not going to understand it when you say, well, I deviated off my goal. I'm no longer going to have a storefront. I'm going to do something else with these cookies. Well, then here come the haters. Well, I know she wasn't going to be able to do it in the first place. Those cookies don't even taste that good. I mean, who does she think she is? They already have Keebler. Nabisco doesn't need any help. They've already got the Girl Scouts making cookies once a year. I mean, who does she think she is? She needs to just stick to being a teacher. She needs to just stick to selling cars. She needs to just stick to doing hair. Well, those are the pigeonholers. The people who are going to pigeonhole you and what you have going on for your life are jealous. They don't want you to achieve your dreams. They're not going to smile. They're going to smile at you when they see you. They'll be there from the beginning to observe and watch all of your mistakes, all of your deviations, all of your missteps, all of your itty bitty failures along the road. They're going to observe those failures as setbacks, but you're going to use all those failures as comebacks, and you're going to come back stronger and stronger and stronger, and you're going to let your path be worked on by God in your secret prayer time. I don't know if y'all read it in the Bible. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Maybe you don't even know what the Bible is. But you're supposed to pray in secret. All right? God don't want you out there chanting, Nom Yoho Rengekyo, Nom Yoho Rengekyo, Nom Yoho Rengekyo. We all saw Tina Turner do that on What's Love Got to Do With That? She started chanting like the Buddhists. Well, in my Bible, it says, I don't need you to start chanting. God heard you the first time. He's the giver of everything. If he gave you all the gifts, let me tell you something. Let me break it down to you like this. Okay? Now remember, I like to tell you, I'm not your preacher, I'm not your teacher, I'm not your rabbi. But I'm going to tell you what I read. Okay? Now, if God has special gifts for everybody, if he created you, he gave you your gifts. There are different kinds of gifts. There are the spiritual gifts that God distributes to everybody. And then there are the working gifts, okay? Your spiritual gifts are one thing. You can learn about your spiritual gifts in church. This ain't church. I'm going to talk to you about your working gifts. Your working gifts are those things that you're just good at. You don't know why you're the bomb at knitting. You don't know why you're the best seamstress. You don't know why you're the best hairstylist. You don't know why you can braid so well. You don't know why you're the best makeup artist. You don't know why you're the best tailor. Those are your working gifts that God distributed to you. Now, If you have a green thumb, which means you can grow plants very well, I can grow plants. My mom grew plants. My mother-in-law grew plants very well. If you have a green thumb, that is a working gift, okay? So you can grow plants. Your spiritual gift is your spiritual gift of favor, like discernment. Spiritual gift like intuition. You know, people say intuition is intuition. Girl, I say it's God. God is telling to tell you something. So I'm talking about my intuition. Who exactly is Intuit? I have never met Intuit, but I met God. So anytime I'm thinking of something in my head, I got to assume it's God telling me to do it. So if God tells me to go out and bake some cookies and open up a cookie store, I'm going to do it because he gave me the working gift of baking very well and the spiritual discernment to know that that was my spiritual gift to be able to discern what's for me, what's not for me. It's quite simple, ladies and gentlemen. God makes it easy. Working gifts, spiritual gifts. I'm here to talk about the jealous haters who are jealous of the working gifts that God has given to you. God will give you, listen, you got a top model. Her body is already made to be a top model. God made her 5'11". God made her 135 pounds without trying to starve herself. God already made her with the features in her face and the features in her body to make her perfect for walking down the runway. That is God's working gift that he gave. That's a working blessing. The spirit of discernment, if he gives it to the top model, will say, don't do crack to stay skinny because you don't need crack to stay skinny. Don't sleep your way to the top. Don't do no nudie pictures if you feel like it might come back and haunt you. Well, that's a spiritual gift of discernment. Are you going to listen to him? Well, when you have all of these working gifts, if you have the gift of speaking very well, if you have the gift of singing very well, dancing very well, if you have the gift of insight, all of those gifts, you got to decide which one is which. God gave you a couple of them. You got to figure out your gifts early. If you figure out your gifts and what they are, and you realize that once you're living in your purpose, it's because you're living out your working gifts that God has given to you. So you're working towards the purpose that God set out for you. Now, while you're working towards that purpose, people don't understand what your purpose is. They don't understand their own purpose. So if you're still trying to figure out your purpose and how to get there, then you know that God is working on somebody else and their purpose. The jealous haters are the ones who cannot figure out what their working gifts are. They don't know they didn't get the spirit of discernment so they can figure out what their working gifts are. If they were more discerning and worried about themselves, they wouldn't be worried about your cooking gift, your baking gift, your sewing, your singing, your dancing, your speaking. Your gift, all those gifts, they wouldn't be trying to compete with those gifts that you had that God gave you. The jealous haters, here's what jealousy does. A person who's jealous of you will always be around you. Okay? Jealous people don't stay away from you. Jealous people like to butt up right next to you. They like to partner with you. They like to be in your space. They like to be in your space so they can see how you're doing it. They like to be in your space so they can copy your style. Copy what your goal is. Try to modify it and make it their own. Try to take your gift and impart it on their own to themselves, which when they try to do what is for you, for their own lives, it always ends up failing. It's a 100% failure rate for any jealous person that tries to catapult on somebody else's gift that was designed and made for them by God. It just is. You can't help, if you're fatty, like myself, you're not going to be on the catwalks in New York if you're not weighing 125 pounds. Now, that means I would have to lose 20 more pounds to be on the catwalk. Looking at me, I don't have 20 more pounds to lose from nowhere, so I'm not supposed to be a supermodel in New York City. Okay? So God didn't give me this face to be a supermodel. No. He gave me this face just so I could use it to get in the doors that I need to be in. But he also knew that I needed discernment to know I didn't make you that pretty to be a supermodel. No, you just need to smile and be friendly. That's it. Every bad bee ain't supposed to be a model. You ain't supposed to be on Instagram straight flexing. God didn't give you your face to be on Instagram. It does help though. But you got to be making sure that if you see somebody on the gram doing all their fabulousness, that you don't get caught up in the jealousy. You cannot get jealous of the people that you see living their blessings out loud on Facebook. If you see somebody living their blessing out loud on Instagram or on TikTok or on Twitter or on any of those social media platforms, you cannot see somebody living out their blessing and then you figure out, how can I do that? Just because you see somebody with a podcast, don't mean you need to say, maybe I need a podcast. And on that note, I'm going to go break right there. We're going to talk about some more jealous haters that you got in your life. If you got jealous haters in your life, I'm going to buy you a broom. Sweep them on out. Sweep them on out. You got to sweep them, sweep them, sweep them. You know why you got to sweep them? Because you paid them with dust and they ended up on your floor. So when I was talking to you about your gifts that you get, you know, your spiritual gifts and your working gifts, I wasn't just pulling this out my butt. It comes from the Bible. 1 Corinthians 12, 4 through 9, okay, and 11 in the New International Version. Let me tell you, I'm not trying to be your quoting Bible person, but let me tell you this. Quote, there are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. There are different kinds of working, but in all of them and in every one, it is the same God at work. Now, to each one, the manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good. All right, the common good. We're all working in concert with each other, y'all. To one there, now here's how the breakdown of the gifts goes. If you never heard about gifts coming from God or the Creator, if you never heard about the working gifts versus the spiritual gifts, you need to listen up and figure out which one of these is you. Listen, to one there is given through the Spirit a message of wisdom. You got that? Some of you are wise, some of you are dumb. To another, a message of knowledge. Some of you are still dumb, some of you have knowledge. Okay? To another, faith by the same Spirit. The gift of faith. I got that one. I think that's what God gave me. Then another, gifts of healing. All of these work with one and the same Spirit who distributes all of them. So if you're a faith healer, if you have discernment, you got wisdom, you got knowledge, you got intelligence, you got all those working gifts, then that means you have to be discerning about how you use your gifts before they expire. All right, let me tell you this. The gifts that you give, if God only gives you 70 years, if you acting good, now let me tell you, let me break this down to you. I don't want you to get hung up on my dialects, okay? When I'm in the courtroom, all of my subjects and verbs agree every time. I don't split infinitives. I don't use double negatives. But when I'm on my podcast, I got to talk to you like my mama and them used to talk to us so we could get the message, okay? So if you want to be hung up about, if I say where they at, I know at is behind the preposition. It's where are they? So now that we're past my language barrier, if all of you are hung up on going to Harvard, I get it. But you have to be able to learn how to switch your dialect. I'm multi-dialectical, okay? I can keep it hood and be good. I can talk with swag. I can talk in the courtroom. I can talk to the president. I can talk to anybody in any realm. All right. I can keep it gutter with the hood rats and I can keep it pristine with the preachers. So don't let my dialect confuse you. Just try to hang on if you can to my fast language and speaking. Okay. So if you know already that you got these gifts and you got about 70 good years on this earth, unless you just jack it up by bungee jumping and falling off a building or something stupid, then you're going to be here for 70 years. So your gifts will expire. God gives you these gifts so that you can use them when you're in your prime. If you're too busy worried about somebody else's gift and why God gave them a gift of being able to run faster than you at the track meet or dribble better than you on the NBA court or speak better than you, and that's why they're getting all these speaking engagements and you're not, or your podcast is flopping and theirs is bomb. So if God is giving you all this stuff, if you're too busy in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s trying to look at somebody else and watching them fulfill their purpose and wonder, why she got a radio show? Why she got a TV show? Why does he have his own basketball team now? Why is he invested over there in the baseball team? Why do they have their own acting school? Why are they teaching their own etiquette classes? Why do they have their own this? Why they got their own this? Why they got a new whatever, why they? If you spend 20 years of saying why they, or why them, and not me, then you are letting your gift in your 20s, you're letting your gift expire. If you're in your 30s, catching the vapors, because everybody got their career, you know, by the time you hit your 20s, you graduating from school, you're learning yourself, you may have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you may be in a relationship, you're trying to find where you're going to be. You graduate from college or you graduate from trade school, you just don't graduate from nothing, you just go out there, go to the military, and you just being you. By the time you hit your 30s, then you're looking around like, oh, what happened to my 20s? They're gone. Now, I'm still sexy, but it doesn't seem like I'm still living with my mama and them. I still don't have my own car. I still don't have any direction. And now Oprah's no longer on TV, so I have nobody that I can watch every day at 4 o'clock. So what am I going to do now? Well, I've been looking at so-and-so. She seems like she's living her dream. Yeah, she's living her dream because all through her 20s, from the age of 20 to 30, she wasn't worried about you. From the age of 20 to 30, she was only worried about fulfilling her purpose to open up that cookie shop. From 20 to 30. From 20 to 30, she's been every year getting better and better and better, getting closer and closer and closer to where she believes her purpose will take her. But if you've been over there high-siding, capping, fronting, doing shenanigans, throwing shade, being jealous, doing little slick comments, not posting, liking, tagging, and sharing your own stuff, too busy to be worried about their stuff, then your 20s to from 20 to 30, you're going to be looking confused. And when you have your big 30th birthday party, you're going to be looking around, realizing you're at the same club that you went to for your 21st birthday, drinking with the same losers. Instead of your homegirl down the street who's got the keys to her little bakery shop. On my 30th birthday, I'd like to invite you all to the party at my bakery shop. And I want you all to know that this is going to be my grand opening. So it's going to be a kind of a twofer. So I want you all to wear. So she's doing that while you over there down at D-Bar having your 30th birthday party. While she's over there about to open her second location when she turns 35. While you still over there trying to figure out, what did you do with your 20s? What happened? Well, listen, when you have a spotlight focused on somebody else's life, then you cannot help but compare your life to theirs. The comparison game will cause your gifts to expire because you're comparing your life to theirs, but they have different gifts from you. God gave them a different start than you. God gave them a different knack for something. God didn't give it to you. God didn't give you that spirit of working that he gave them. God gave you something else. You should spend all of your time asking God to reveal to you what your working purpose is and what your spiritual purpose is. That's what you should be doing all the time. Say, God, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and can you reveal it to me? Your therapist cannot tell you what your purpose is. Your lawyer, your doctor, your friends, your family cannot tell you what your purpose is. God reveals to you what your purpose is. Now, if you're too busy looking to the left and looking to the right and not looking straight ahead at the mirror, you're not going to figure out your purpose because you're looking away. Okay? Not focusing on what your purpose is looks like this. I'm looking at the mirror. I see what God has in store for me. I'm liking it, and it looks pretty good. Oh, yeah. He's got my face together. He's got my body together. He's got my mind together. He's got my surrounding friends together. And I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm staying focused on just what's for me. Only what's for me. So it's kind of like I looked in the mirror, focused on what's for me, and I'm so focused while I'm looking in the mirror. But as soon as I get out of the mirror, walk out of the bathroom, I forget who I am. I walked and stopped looking at the mirror, and I started looking to my right and looking at the mirror somebody else is looking in. Like, why she got to get it and I don't have it? Why does he have to have it and I didn't get it? Why does he always have to have the good jobs? Why do I hate my job? Well, maybe he's in the job that was his divine purpose. Maybe you're in the wrong job. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and not look away. You have to remember, once you look in the mirror, not to forget who you are. You have to remember when you're looking to your side view in your peripheral. We took a ride in New Orleans down a carriage to go do a tour, and the horse had blinders on. There is a specific path that the horse that is giving you a tour around New Orleans has to take on the buggy. The horse has the blinders on, so the horse does not deviate off of the path of your journey. It has to make sure it hits every turn, every curve without deviating. Now, with the blinders on, the horse is forced to look ahead. What you need to do is put on your own blinders so that your sunglasses will prevent you from looking to the sides. Stay focused because you could be the one who's jealous. How about you worry about yourself and give other people a reason to be jealous about what you're doing? If you're focused on you, you're not worried about your haters. If you're focused on you, you're not worried about the jealous ones. If you're focused on you, you will get to your final destination. If you're focused on anybody else, have you ever seen people run a track meet? Have you ever noticed that in the 100-meter dash, when they're booking, runner, you see them with their heads up, with the wind at their backs, propelling them forward, and looking up, moving, booking, arms working. Now, when they notice or hear some footsteps coming up on them to their right or their left, they don't all of a sudden look and see who it is. They know who it is. It's the person that's trying to get the win from them. But if they look to the right, it's going to slow them down. And it might make them go out of the lane. And if they go out of the lane, they'll be disqualified from the race. And they were in the lead. Okay? If you don't stay in your lane in a track meet and you cross over into the other lane, you are disqualified from that race. So you need to not get yourself disqualified from the race to your purpose that you have for your life. God set your purpose up. He did. Run your own race. It's 8 lanes across. You got 1 lane. You don't need to worry about number seven through 2. You don't care about that, do you? No. Why? Because all you need to do is stay focused. But when you look to the right, that is the first sign that you might be a little bit jealous about what's going on around you. I know it sounds hard to hear, but if you're looking to the right, you're thinking, oh my gosh, they're catching up. And then what's going to happen is while you're looking to the right, you're going to watch that person pass you by and get the first place prize. Because while you were looking to the right, they were still focused on their desire to win the race in first place. See, you had first place locked up and sewn up. You were about to be 5 yards from the finish line. In that 5th yard, you heard their footsteps. And instead of their footsteps creeping up on you, encouraging you to run even faster, harder, keep looking straight even more aggressively and leaning in, you then turned your head to the right. When you turned your head to the right, you stopped leaning forward. To go forward, you have to be leaning all in. The gravitational pull of your purpose will pull you all the way forward. But the moment you lean to the right, you're messing up the aerodynamic nature of your body in position. You know how when you're riding in the car, you got your sunroof going back and you hear the boo, 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 boo. And then it says, in order to remain economically friendly, close the sunroof. You're messing up the aerodynamic nature of the car by having the wind go inside and have to travel out. When the swimmers wear those tight swimsuits, it's so the waters can go over their heads. You don't see them wear no long braids 10 feet long like mine in no swim competition in the Olympics. No, you can't even see any hair on their heads. They got it all down to their head, making sure that there was nothing out of line. Their body is in total alignment with their purpose, staying streamlined, aerodynamic. When you see those car commercials and you see where they have the wind, the streamline is aerodynamic. You don't see the car door open. You don't see the blinker on. You just see that the wind is going over the car. Wind. If the car door has one door open, it's going to slow it down. You turning your head to the right, you turning your head to the left while you running your race forward, it's going to slow you down. If you slow down so much where your jealousy gets so much beside you, you may even trip and fall down. You fall down, you're going to get what? Disqualified. Don't be disqualified from reaching your purpose. You are in a race to reach your purpose because your gifts will expire. Take, for example, you thought you were a track star in high school. You probably had the natural gift of being a superstar, but you didn't want to really work that hard when you went to college. You probably didn't want to go to the Olympics, but God gave you the natural ability to go to the Olympics if you wanted to. Well, after your 20s, your gift expired. Now you can't run at all. Now you're just doing yoga. Talk about I used to run track. Yeah, you used to be fine. Yeah, you could have been an Olympic. I could have been. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, didn't. That's what you do when you let your gifts expire. But for those people who don't let their gifts expire, they do it in God's perfect timing. If it's on the right time, timing is everything. Because guess what? Everybody in that race, all 8 lanes, prayed to God that he would help them win the race. But God is like, okay, I want all y'all to be winners. But I already know whoever stays focused on their own goal, whoever stays in their own lane, whoever trusts me the most, Whoever trusts me the most, that I will carry them to the finish line, even though they already know going into the race that there's somebody that has a faster recorded time than them. There's already somebody who has recorded a faster time than them at the track meet. You already know going in that you're probably going to be ranked number 4. But on race day, you're all starting at that startup lineup at the same time. On your mark, get set, go. Everybody is in their own lane, running at their own pace. You're all hoping to win the race to get to the finish line. Well, everybody prayed to the same God, but what happened? Lane number 1 is the only one that stayed focused. Lane number 1 had the 4th losing his time. Lane number 2 thought they could automatically beat lane number 1 because they knew that they were the fastest. Well, lane number 2 didn't even start breaking out too fast. They're like, let me save it to the end while I get my kick in. Well, if you're in lane number 1, you already know that you're the 4th slowest. You already know you're not going to place. You're only destined to be number 4. Doesn't even get a ribbon. Doesn't even get an honorable mention. 4th place is the fourth worst. 2nd place is the first loser. But numbers 1, 2, and 3 already knew that they were going to win 1, 2, and 3. They said, hey, we already got our times. We already know we're going to win. Well, what happens when number 4 comes on up? Numbers 1, 2, and 3 think they already got it sold up. They say, I don't even need to pray about this match. I'm gonna be just fine. I already know she ain't gonna win. Why is she over there stretching? Why is she stretching knowing she has the 4th slowest time? She ain't gonna win this 100. What happens? Lanes number 1, 2, and 3 think they're only in competition with themselves. 2, 3, and 4 think they're only in competition with themselves. Lane number 1 says, I'm just going to focus on God. I'm just going to run my race. What happens? A gust of wind comes through halfway through. When you get to that 50th meter, a gust of wind comes through. Lanes 2, 3, and 4 are looking at the wind like, it's getting me off my rocker. Lane number 1 knew that the gust of wind was a push from God, pushing them further past. Lanes number 2, 3, and 4. Just stay focused on your goal. Stay focused on your purpose. Don't look to lanes number 2, 3, and 4. Don't worry about whoever has better statistics than you. You just run that race and stay focused. Look up. And when the wind comes, take that as a push from God. And what happens? You will win your race. But lanes number 2, 3, and 4, you're going to be like, I won. I got number 1. I got first place. Everybody on your team said, oh my God, we didn't think you were going to do that. How did you do that? Somebody else said, well, lane number 2, well, I just had a bad start. Lane number 3, well, it was the wind. Lane number 4, well, my spikes weren't fitting well. Well, lane number 1 was the winner. Lane number 1 didn't make an excuse. Lane number 1 did not believe that just because they were starting off less than everybody else, that they were doomed to failure. Lane number 1 realized that all they needed to do was run their own race and they could get first place. Listen, lanes number 2, 3, and 4 thought they all had it already on their own. They didn't think that they needed to stay focused because their gift of running faster naturally is what God gave them. So they thought, naturally, I'm going to win. Naturally. Well, guess what? If you don't use God's spiritual gifts along with his working gifts, you're going to be disqualified. Have you ever asked someone to borrow something that you thought you needed and then you never used it? And then they were like, can I get my so-and-so back? And you're like, oh, yeah. I haven't used it yet, but I need it for this week. And they're like, yeah, but I need it now. Well, that's how God is with your gifts, okay? When he distributes the gifts to us at birth, you already got your gifts. He already designed you, what you're going to be, what you're going to do, how you're going to live, how you're going to act. He knows which parents to give to you. Let me tell you, I'm telling you this, he already knows the future. He sets it out so far in advance. If you look and notice anything now, the plan has already been laid out for your life. If you don't do what you're supposed to do in the time that it's supposed to be done in, you won't have the time left to do it. Because when somebody wants to get their gift that they gave you back that you were borrowing, they want it back and they're highly unlikely to give it to you again to borrow again. They're going to be like, okay, go find your own stuff. So if you didn't use your own gifts because you were too busy focusing on the jealousy, let me help you get rid of the jealousy that may be creeping up on you. The problem with comparing your life to other people is that you're comparing your life to the surface of what their lives are. You don't really know what's going on. You may and I always use reality shows as the foundation because if you're comparing your lives to the aspirational lifestyles, the producers are forcing these women to spend all of their money to make it look like their lives are so wonderful. There's another industry that does the same thing. I was watching a documentary about a multi-level marketing company where they were selling all these leggings. It was owned by this couple, this married couple. I believe they were a religious couple. Is it Lululemon? Maybe that. Whatever. Is that the leggings? Lululemon? No, that's the good one. There's another one. There's another company. They're kind of going kaputs because they wanted all of the women to sell these leggings. Now, let me just say one thing clear. Multi-level marketing is telemarketing. Calling somebody every day, asking them to buy your stuff is telemarketing. I used to be a telemarketing when I was an undergraduate. I was making $10 an hour, selling siding. You know, telemarketing is what the job that you can always get, to be calling people. They're going to hang up on you half the time. Well, multi-level marketing is telemarketing. So you got multi-level marketers that all the ones that I saw on this particular documentary that was on Netflix, I believe, they talked about how the women that got into this MLM and the owners of the MLM were saying, when you make this money from what you're selling, you need to make sure that you go out and look rich. Use the profits that you're making to enhance your wardrobe with designer bags, designer shoes, designer clothing.
Lula Rich.
Lula what?
Lula Rich.
Lula, no.
Lula Rich.
It's not called Lula Rich. It's called Lula. Whatever Lula something. Found their... No, that's the quote. That's not their real name. Find the business name. But whatever it is, when you had this company, they're telling all the women, buy all these fancy clothes, spend your profits on the Louis Vuitton bags, the Chanel shoes, make yourself look rich so that when you're going to these women and hosting these events and trying to get them to sell for you and call all their friends, that you look like you're successful. So you have to look successful by spending all of your profits on drip. That's, huh?
LuLaRoe.
LuLaRoe. LuLaRoe is the company that designed its telemarketing scheme. I call it telemarketing scheme, based on a bunch of women, mostly white women, middle-class white women all across the country that were selling the leggings and all these outfits out of their cars and having all these like Tupperware kind of style parties. But they were forcing the women to spend their money on stuff they didn't need. Now, there's a couple of other multi-level marketing companies that I see on social media everywhere. And all they do is walk around with all of this swag, all these, every single one, whether they're selling coffee, diet stuff, tea, leggings, every single one has the same false idea of reality that they want the women to promote. I'm trying to tell you this for a reason. I know I'm going to have a lot of people mad at me, but you need to be mad at me for telling the truth. So I was watching this documentary, and the women that were on there were now suing the company, saying that they were toxic, it was a bad environment, the corporate structure was blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. But they were suing, and all of the women said, if I had not spent all my money on all of the bags, the clothes, the shoes, and all the things that they wanted us to buy, then I would still have money left. But instead, they wanted me to use my earned money and pour it all back and buy all this product. And then any extra money that I had left over, they wanted me to make sure that I looked rich and looked the part. All the latest bags, all the latest this. And that is all I see across social media platforms, is all these women trying to show off all their bags and all their drip and all their rich. But what they're not teaching is that all of that is fake. If you're a person that's in a multi-level marketing business, hats off to you. But if you're spending your dollars trying to dress yourself, if you're spending $5,000 of your hard-earned telemarketing money on a bag from Louis Vuitton, so that makes you look rich, so that you can convince other women to join your business, that ain't what's going to work. It ain't. And you women out there, I advise you, don't look at what these sellers of these MLM companies are showing you. You need to say, how much is your bottom line? When they tried to scoop me up with Mary Kay 15 years ago. I almost got scooped up, knowing full well I've been watching the Mary Kay pink Cadillacs drive around my neighborhood, knowing full well I was going to be a lawyer. Now, thankfully, I have a law degree. Thankfully, by nature of the State Bar of Texas, you are not allowed to telemarket. I just said, God, after I did telemarketing for so many years, I said, God, please, when I grow up, please just let me be a lawyer so I never, ever, 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 ever have to call somebody and beg them to buy a product for me and then hang up on me on the phone. I must have got hung up on about 400 million, billion, trillion times to let me know that was not the purpose God had intended for me, that I needed to dream bigger. If you're not out there selling a product that you designed yourself, that you created on your own, then that's not your purpose. If you're not at the top of the pyramid, if you're not at the top of the selling chain, then that is not your intended purpose for your life. I know you probably you may have been selling Mary Kay for 25 years. Maybe that is your purpose. Maybe it's your purpose to drive around in a pink Cadillac. But for me, every person that I have ever known that is like me, all of my girlfriends who have ever tried any of those multi-level marketing companies have all failed. And you know what? They failed because it was not their purpose. They were doing something they were not designed for. God had a different stead for them in their life. God was like, this ain't what you're supposed to be doing, calling somebody else selling something every day, calling all your friends, asking them to buy your powder, asking them to buy your coffee, asking them to buy whatever you're selling. If you're selling a service that you're providing, that's probably your destiny. That's probably what God has for you, because God gave you the working favor to create that service. But if you're not good at it, then you need to quit it. If you're not good at MLM, you need to quit. Turn in your packets, turn in your Mary Kay makeup, turn in your siding, which is what I was selling in telemarketing. Turn it all in. Don't spend your time on something that's not for you. Some people that are good at multi-level marketing, it's for them. If they're at the top and they're making millions, good for them. But just because you see somebody else at the top of their MLM platform doing it big, it doesn't mean they're actually doing it big. What it actually means is they're actually really good at influencing you people out there to spend your money to make them richer. Did you hear me? You're supposed to spend your money selling 500 Mary Kay makeup kits every year. You can never stop. And once you sell 500, you got to make sure all those 500 people under you are selling 500 more. The moment that they stop selling, see, here's the thing. If you're not Moses, you should not be responsible for all the people. If you know you're not good at, if you know you didn't want to do telemarketing in high school as your side gig, if you know that you didn't want to take a telemarketing job while you were in college trying to pass the time like I did, if you know that you're not good at getting hung up on this, stop getting caught up on the Instagram and on everything on social media saying that you could just sell this stuff and then you could be rich. It's not going to happen. You need to ask those people who are like buying the Gucci, Fendi, Prada, Chanel, and wearing all the different, you got all these diamonds and stuff, and you're flying around in private jets and you're traveling all this stuff. How much are you making on your bottom line? How many more people do you have working up under you? Why are you selling this? Is this a tea that you created? Why aren't you selling your own stuff? Listen, if I have 500,000 people that I can sell to, I'm going to sell it for myself. God don't want you selling stuff that other people are making. Don't you think that if you're good at selling, that you could have something that God gave you? Maybe you need to look inside your own spirit, in your own self, and see what gifts did God give me? What working gift did God give me that I can give to the world? What can I do to be a value add to the people around me? I saw some person I'm going to use my Mary Kay example again. Now, I didn't even wear Mary Kay makeup. But I got hoodwinked by some lady that saw me at Dillard's and was like, hey, you look really beautiful. I have a business opportunity for you. I was like, okay, yeah. What is it? Well, let me have you come to this meeting. I think you can have your own business. And I was already a lawyer. I already had my own little practice. I was thinking, I was like, okay. I had already been working on the plantation law firms for such a long time. And I was like, well, you know what? Maybe it's something I can do as a side business. Well, when I got to the meeting, and realized there was like 40 women up in there. We were all listening to the pitch. About 15 minutes into the meeting, I realized, they want me to sell. Now, I thought I was just going to have a business. I didn't know I was going to be doing telemarketing. I didn't know that once I got into this room, they wanted me to list 100 friends that I had with their phone numbers. I raised my hand. I said, why do I need to write down a list of 100 friends? And they said, that's how you're going to build your business. I said, okay. So I wrote down my list and I got to 100. Other women in the room couldn't get past 30. Now, when I got to 100, I said, well, I have at least 500 more. They were like, oh, this is great. Your business is going to be fantastic. Now, what we need to do is, now that you have your list, your job is to call everybody on your list and send them an email, call them, and tell them that you would like to set up a meeting with them so that you can help create them with your business. I was like, oh, what do you mean set up a meeting with my friends? You want me to set up meetings with all 100 people on this list? Well, how many times am I going to have to do this? They said, well, that's how you keep your business. And as many times as you can, as long as you have a network, you need to be calling those friends in your list every single day. Ladies and gentlemen, God didn't make me for everything. Now, I know my working gift is not telemarketing. It's not. So I said, you know what? I brought 3 of my friends to that meeting with me. After that meeting, I said, listen, I've changed my mind. I appreciate you guys spending 2 hours with this meeting with me. I'm not selling Mary Kay. I'm not selling anything except for legal services. And my legal services is what God gave me to do. So, and thankfully, God knew that I was going to suck at telemarketing, because I sucked when I did it as a side hustle when I was an undergrad trying to pay my rent. It was meant to pay my rent. But the lady who convinced me to go to that meeting, when she saw me in the mall, she was shopping at the same place I was shopping. We were buying kind of the same kind of things in the same price point. She didn't look at me looking like I needed a job. She looked to me because she thought that I was very connected, and she was right. So what you all have to do is remember, everybody that comes into your space is not there to help you out. Sometimes they're in your space so they can help themselves. She looked at me to be a succubus of my network. She wanted me to use my 500 people. Like, I have 10,000 people in my database right now from when I ran for office. Everybody's been coming at me. You need to sell your database. You need to sell your database. I ain't selling my database. Why would I sell my 10,000 friends and supporters? No. Why would I do that? I'm not about to call them and ask them, do you want to buy some makeup for me? No. I'm not about to be in some telemarketing thing. I'm not about to be in anything that requires me to do what God did not have for me in my purpose. It's not my purpose to help somebody else become a millionaire. It's in my purpose to live my own destiny. Now, if you're out there and you're at the top of the pyramid, good for you. Good for you. That means you can make sure that you get everybody else to sell. Now, I'm only good at selling what I'm good at. And what I'm good at is selling motivation, legal services, and I'm good at helping you find your purpose. Because let me tell you, I've been a fixer for 23 years. I'm a fixer. I fix what's going on in your life. I've had people say, well, I don't know what to do in my life. Well, let me help you get on direction. So if that's what I'm good at, I didn't belong up in that meeting. I could have probably made millions of dollars selling Mary Kay, but that wasn't my destiny. And my friends who all signed up for these other MLM companies are like, oh, girl, I was doing it for like 6 months, girl, and then I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't trying to call them people. I said, well, fool, you knew that when you first went up in that meeting, they were telling you to call them people. You decided you want to stay a little bit longer. You wanted to convince yourself that it was for you. If you have to convince yourself that something is for you, it's not for you. But one thing that we know for sure is that your jealous haters will watch you go deviate off your chosen path and applaud you. When you stop baking cookies and start doing a multi-level marketing scheme that you're not good at, see, only the people that are good at MLM should be doing it. I know some women that are kings and queens in the game that are great at it. That's all they do. 100% is MLM. Good for them. I don't want to work that hard. God said, I'll make it easy for you if you just do what if you do what you're supposed to do. I need God to keep on making it easy for me. And I'm not about to be picking up the phone, calling nobody. And anytime, listen, and that's why I also don't go to a lot of my friends' events. If you invite me to something that say, come and listen to this, I'm not coming. If it's not a concert with a singer, an actor, or a comedian, I'm not coming, because you're trying to get me in there to sell me something or to have me selling for you. I can only be selling legal services because that's what God intended me to sell. And right now, I'm selling you this podcast because I want you to be on your hustle and I want you to get rid of the haters. Don't worry about the jealous folks. And if you're jealous, recognize your jealousy. It's okay to be jealous. Hell, I'm jealous of Beyonce's kneecaps. I'm jealous of Tina Turner's kneecaps because only Tina Turner and Beyonce can drop it like it's hot 10 or 20 days in a row without their knees swelling up and still wear those mini skirts. I'm jealous of their knees, okay? Well, I didn't get the knees. They got them. I didn't get the voice. They got the voice. So with my knees, I'm just going to walk to the courtroom. I'm not going to be jealous of their knees for long and try to compete with them. No, I'm going to stay in my lane and buy tickets to the Beyonce concert if they go on sale for $65. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you guys are feeling a little bit jealous, get off your jealousy. The easiest way to get off of jealousy is to stop looking at other people. Run your own race. Stay in your own lane. Don't get disqualified. Keep faith and hope in your stead. Left hand, right hand. Walk on your tightrope or be disqualified. Go open up that bakery shop. You can do it. For those of you women out there, I've been in this situation. Don't be embarrassed. It could happen to you.